Hey Theodore, I would like to talk. So, I have been looking into audiobooks because I've been wanting to make a sung audiobooks of some, of Paradise Lost and stuff like Dante's Inferno. So I was saying, what would my competition be? And I looked at everything that I saw on YouTube, and it was just all kind of, it was like, it's like they're just talking, and it's, poetry should be sung, and that's the way. And it kind of feels like they're not putting enough oomph, it's not enough. It's lacking something. And it gave me inspiration, a lot of inspiration to do it myself. I want to do it now because I see everything, and it's like there's something that's just missing, and it's like everything just sucks, and I don't like it. So I want to be an alternative and perhaps put something that'll make people not disdain poetry, because I feel like poetry, it's like a sung thing. People are into songs. Historically, people used to listen to poetry as song. It used to be not two distinct categories. So yeah, my point. So I want to be the voice to bring poetry back to the modern era. And because no one, I feel like audiobooks, there should be some kind of, thought put into everything you say, because you're one person, and you're going to be listening to a lot of people, so you shouldn't really just have, a blank reading. There should be an emotion, there should be a character to what you say. When I read a Paradise Lost, there's a voice to it, and that, there's something that comes out, and I want to put that in the audiobook, and people don't seem to do that. They just kind of have an audiobook. They just read blankly, and it's just inoffensive, and it's like, ugh, this is so boring. I want it to feel as if someone is actually cares about the thing. I feel like someone should read it a bunch of times and understand the flow of what they're saying, and have a good grasp of what they're trying to say. And I feel like that's the thing that I've gotten with some William Blake and Paradise Lost to some degree. And I feel like what I put on that channel, there should be some high standard to go by, because my idea is that people listen to this as, the way they're appreciating the poetry, and I have to take the spirit of that poem and add to it, because most people, by reading it aloud, they kind of denigrate it. They take something away from it, because the written poetry has a spirit that comes out when you read it out to yourself, or it can come, but you need some kind of intuition to it, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't really talked to many people about this. I've talked to my brother, but he seems to agree with me. And the spirit, it's not in these audiobooks. They're just talking, and I hate it. It's just, it's like, how have people not thought of what I'm thinking? Is it just that people have done it and it didn't work? I mean, I don't think so. It's not like a crazy idea I'm thinking of. It's pretty kind of obvious, I feel. But maybe I just have to do it, and I have to do it high quality. And, so as it's high quality, my plan is to do Paradise Lost, the William Blake poems that I really like and feel something through it. And yeah, I was thinking, I was reading Genesis, and I was surprised by how short the stories are, like Adam and Eve and Noah, and I feel like those different stories could be individual videos, honestly, and people would see it and it's like, well, that's shorter than I thought it would be, and and when I read it, there's a spirit I feel come out of it that I've never really experienced by someone else reading it. And even the pauses in between, like there's a genealogy of the birth from Adam to Noah, and it's like about people's sons and their sons, and there's like a really strong spirit there that was coming out when I read it, like on my third reading, I think. I don't know. I think it was my second reading that I read it, and it made me feel kind of existential, because it was like, it's about the generations, and these people are living hundreds of years, and then it's just dead. The man lived 100 years, he had kids, then he died. And there's kind of like a solemn, depressing air thing to it, and it made me really appreciate it. And it's something that I feel, if I made a video about it, that these boring parts could be some of my favorite. Like, that was my favorite part of the beginning of Genesis, I feel, because of how fun it is. The way I read it, I kind of felt like it was funny. I mean, people might disagree. It's a terrifying thing. It's like they build things up and it crumbles. And there's like entire stories that are implied to have been there with, some kind of importance, and we just don't have it. And it's like, these two lines imply a story, and I kind of want to show that with the way I read it out loud instead of just reading it blankly. And it's all these things you figure out by reading it, and that I can figure out by reading the translation notes. It's pretty darn cool. And kind of gets lost in translation, and when it gets read aloud, or even just reading it once, you just don't notice it. And there could be something about audiobooks that actually make you see more than if you were to read it. Because often audiobooks, they make it a flat, disgusting mess. I mean, it's not that, but it's flat, it's nothing, no character, empty, bleh. And so it's as if you're going, it might be better than your first reading, but hypothetically, I don't know. But like when you're reading, there's a spirit that's there, and if I make an audiobook that involves the spirit that you get when you read aloud for this, when you're on your sixth reading, I can transfer the feeling of reading a poem for the sixth time to someone who's listening it to the first time. That sounds like it would be really helpful. That seems like a valuable tool to be given, and I don't really see why it's not happening. And I don't know if people would want to listen to my reading, because I'm just some 17-year-old, and it's like, why would I listen to an audiobook of some child? Stupid. He sounds like a child. And it's like the people who read audiobooks, they have like this often strong voice, but they're not doing anything with it. They're just kind of talking. And he walked on the rock. He climbed across 7 pity blocks. And I don't like it. There's something that's just gross about that. I would like to speak of what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of talking to the Hourglass. And I feel like there is some interesting aspect. I'm limiting myself to half an hour or an hour. I don't know how long the thing is. It seems, I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing this. I just thought it'd be kind of fun. It's like I get to, instead of just talking to a camera or to myself in a viewfinder, my reflection, I get to speak to an object, kind of like talking to a tree. It's like that classic idea, would you rather, the classic question, would you rather talk to a woman or talk to a tree? Well, the tree won't make you feel bad. The tree won't be like you're dumb or anything. And it's like similar thing to talking to an hourglass, except there's the extra time sensitivity. Is it flowing? Is it flowing? Did it stop flowing? Well, the time sensitivity might stop at times, but general idea is still there. Yeah, that's the idea I was getting behind this. It's like the tree. It's like I'm talking to a tree, but it's an extra factor. It's extra value because there's no time limit. There just doesn't feel like there's anything happening. It feels blank. I like the limit. There's some kind of, it's like kind of anxiety sort of thing. It pulls you. It's like having a test, It's, you're being put, you have like an hour to do the test, and it makes you work like faster than you would in any other circumstance because you have to finish or you're like just not gonna do well. And I like how the pressure affects me. It gives me some kind of adrenaline. It's like I'm climbing a cliff, It's weird. It's like there's the mental effect is as if I'm doing some kind of risk-taking activity, and it's pretty exhilarating. And it would be nice if that could be a kind of the way I kind of handle homework, though it might not be healthy per se if I were to do that every day, but if I do it some like once a week, maybe, I don't know, fun thing. Yeah, anyway, that's why I'm doing it. I have this desire to get into some kind of flow state. Maybe I can speak in a way that's not completely conscious, and I'm kind of bringing my unconscious up to the forefront and letting it interact, and like letting my conscious interact with it. I don't know. I'm probably saying some kind of Jungian psychology thing, but like poorly and bad. But it's basic idea. I want my unconscious to do something. Because I kind of want to unlock that ability to speak just by myself in a state where I'm not overly conscious of all the things I'm saying. And I don't know, I'm not really achieving that at the moment, but maybe after talking to my Hourglass, you, Theorodor. that name, I had a dream, and I had a dog. His name was Theorodor, so I named the Hourglass Theorodor. And yeah, that's why I'm talking to the Hourglass. So anyway, it might be counterproductive to bring up the idea of a camera, or like to speak as if I have some audience, and I will pretend as if the only thing that exists is me and the Hourglass, and ignore the idea of the audience, because I'm speaking to myself. That is the goal. And I just have to tell the Hourglass, I have to tell you, Theorodor, what I'm thinking. I think I've given you the entirety of the update of what's been going on. There's actually this one guy who, he had some pretty cool readings. He was reading the Canterbury Tales in Middle English, which is pretty neat. He didn't do the whole thing because, you know, probably didn't feel fulfilled with like 1,000, couple hundred viewers on different videos. And this guy, the Olden, what's his name? The Olden literature guy or something like that. And he basically just knows a bunch of random old languages like Latin, Norse, Middle English. You can just talk in them, and yeah, I don't know to what extent he understands it, but it's pretty cool. That's like the only value other than just being inspired by how garbage everything is out of looking into these audiobooks. So I don't know. Perhaps I'll talk to you again, Theodore, some other time. My brother might tell me that speaking to an Hourglass will distort my distinction of reality to imagination. But hey, it's not all bad to play pretend. You know, it's like a child playing pretend. It's like, what's wrong with making use of your imaginatory creations and having them be there? I don't know. I have been kind of afraid of these. This does sound like really stupid, but the more I think about it, there's more just semi-visual things I'm seeing. It's like, it's not hallucinations, but it's like, it's kind of like I'm imagining things, you know, and it's as if I'm imagining things. I used to imagine things in my imagined world, and then there's the real world, and there are two different lenses of perception that you're looking at. There's the physical world, then behind it, there's an imagined world, and that's just in my head. And as I've been kind of trying to make the imagined world feel more like the physical. It's like if I'm imagining like a thing from a book like Dante, I would imagine him in more the real life thing, in the layer of reality as opposed to layer of my imagination, and I put a visual imagination thing on the physical layer, which now that I'm thinking about it, it sounds like a really freaky thing, because it could get out of control. The original reason I was doing it is because I was doing prayer, and I was like, my imaginings in the rosary, this doesn't feel real, because I'm imagining Jesus, you know, on the cross in the imagined layer in my head, so I should imagine it on the physical layer of reality, so it feels like a human in the reality. And that makes it feel more real, but it's also melding imagination and reality a bit. And I don't know if that's particularly healthy. I don't know. It's a scary thought. Hopefully it doesn't turn into schizophrenia. Should I stop this, Theodore? What do you think? It's unfortunate you can't speak, but I can speak to you, so it allows me to do my favorite activity. Lecturing. This is this thing that of like imagination in real life being put together. It reminds me of a movie. I don't remember what it was called, but basically he was imagining drawings in real life and he was kind of talking to them. And it was like, you know, that's kind of cool. I like that. I mean, I was kind of, I was imagining as if I was him at some point when I made the connection, and then I was kind of, you know, practicing having a stick man walk around in real world, and then now it's just, I mean, I don't know, it's not like I'm practicing because it's kind of, I don't know if it's particularly healthy. I mean, it's kind of a thing children do, kind of, but then they grow out of it, and then it doesn't affect them when they're older. Is there a kind of danger to allowing yourself to see these... This has nothing to do with what I originally made this video about. Oh my gosh. Does it happen? Should I repress it? Maybe I should ask my brother. He reads Jung. He should know. And I think I know what his answer is going to be anyway. So, yeah. Mr. Theodor. It was a pleasure making acquaintance with you. See you next time, Theodor.